It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to the Sunday night edition of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, our daily mission is to come to you each and every day with news that you can use right here through the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our website, obnradio.com. We have a 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Our special guest for tonight is a young gun representing Florida A&M University, a.k.a. Rattler Nation. The athletic director, Mr. Kortne Gosha. We'll have him. We'll talk about things that are going on. We ran a poll on the last part of this week. Alcorn is receiving a little bit of heat on whether or not they should change referring to the campus as the reservation and playing the war chant song. We'll tell you the results of that. Schools and universities are taking matters into their own hand, and so much more to talk about throughout the course of this evening. Hopefully you guys are doing good. You're safe and sound, full off of barbecue festivities and this, that, and the other. Some of you had an extended weekend. Others, like myself, were always working. But it's a labor of love, so I have no problem with that at all. As we mentioned, we're going to be hearing from Kortne Gosha from FAMU. Talk to him. Of course, the big move that has happened throughout June was the capture of Florida into the footprint of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. A lot of people excited. A lot of people excited about the football aspect, but I've been more excited about the baseball, softball aspect, and hopefully we'll get a little insights from Mr. Gosha when we get with him coming up very shortly. We got a lot of other scheduled interviews coming throughout the course of the week, and of course, be sure to tune in each and every day right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. There's always something going on. We have the Carlos Brown Show live on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. That, of course, is Central Standard Time. We have the Delta Sports Report with Mr. Terry Coleman. We have the Southland Report with Mr. Rob Butler. She Say Sports with Miss Sonia Stamps. And we have so much more. Go visit the website. Check out what you've been missing. You can register and listen to us on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, and I know I'm missing some other stuff. We're all over the place. Be sure to check us out. We're going to take us a break, and we'll get ready to hear from Mr. Kortne Gosha, the athletic director for the FAMU Rattlers. You listen to the Mike Prince Show live Sunday night. Keep it where you got it. And I promise you, we'll be right back.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Join us for a daily episode of the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
This is Rob Butler with your Southland Report. I think everybody loves this time of year because we get those magazines in, we get those Dave Campbells, but I got one that I'm staring at right now that includes all of SPS, and to my knowledge, it's the only magazine. I'm talking about Street and Smith's. It's the only magazine that has the FCS previews, and they predicted the Southland Conference, and I'm going to give you the game here, and I'm going to break it down, tell you what they predicted. Number one, they got Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas went 9-4, 7-2 in conference last year. Two, they got Nichols. Nichols went 9-5, 7-2. Three, Sam Houston State. Last year, Sam was 7-5, 6-3 in conference. Four, Southeastern Louisiana. Southeastern Louisiana was 8-5, 6-3 in conference. Five is McNeese. McNeese is 7-5 last year, 5-4. They got new coach Frank Wilson. Of course, they're ineligible for the playoffs this season, but they got them at 5. Number 6, they got Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian went 5-7, 4-5 last season. Number 7, Houston Baptist. Houston Baptist was 5-7 last year, 2-6 in conference. Number 8, they got Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word was 5-7, 4-5 in conference last year. Number 9, they got Northwestern State. Northwestern State went 3-9 last season, 3-6 in conference. 10, Stephen F. Austin. They went 3-9, 3-6 last year in conference. And number 11 is, drum roll please, Lamar. Lamar went 4-8 and 2-7 in conference last year. Now, overall, I tend to agree with this assessment, these predictions here. I think we will get 4 teams in the playoffs this season. I have to backtrack what I said earlier about SSA. I think they're a year away from turning the corner, although they did have a very strong recruiting class. They got that wide receiver, Tamarick Pace. He's coming back. I think they're a year away. But overall, I tend to agree with this, and more about what Dave Campbell said next week. Rob Butler, Open Mic Broadcast Network.
We'd like to take this time to recognize our sponsors and supporters at the Open Mic Broadcast Network: Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, Temple of Refuge Ministries, Prairie View Athletic Club, Attorney Lee Van Richardson, Farmers Insurance of Hempstead, Texas, Diva Skin Conditioner, Helping Hands Lawn Service. Thank you for your support of our local and regional coverage of student athletics here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, we're getting lined up right now for what I've been calling him a young gun. He's the hottest thing on this side of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We'll present to some and introduce to others, none other than Mr. Kortne Gosha. How you doing, man? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing well, and excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you here. You come in, as I say, guns are blazing. And we were talking over the break. This man is 31 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 31. Man, I've been married 30 years. And so, man, all I can say is, wow. Give us a detailed briefing of how you landed at FAMU, sir.
So, for me, I've been blessed and fortunate to have some great experiences early on in my career. I'm a product of Birmingham, Alabama, originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Went to Jacksonville State University for my undergrad. And at a small school, you get blessed with more responsibility. And I ended up getting hired on immediately after graduating there. Built a $47 million facility, and then transitioned a year later to Middle Tennessee, where I served as Associate Athletic Director and Chief Operating Officer for 6.5 years there, and transitioned to University of Miami in 2018. And things were good. I planned to plant some roots in South Florida for a little while, and I was minding my own business down in South Florida, and they decided to come bother me. And, and again, I fell in love with the institution, and I fell in love with the Rattlers immediately. And, I obviously accepted a great opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to serve as vice president and director of athletics on the highest of Seven Hills.
Well, when you say they bothered you, and it's part of the new millennial movement right now, is that gone are the days of 10-year, 20-year, 30-year stands at one institution. It's almost like a jab. You stick and move, and that seems to be part of the pattern right now. And I guess right now, while the iron is hot, FAMU is the spot. What is the assurance that you could give a FAMU nation, or should I say Rattler nation, that you plan to be there and dig your heels in for a while?
So, one thing about me, and I can say, especially with the climate of what's going on in our country, I wouldn't have the opportunity to probably serve as an athletic director in this country if it wasn't for my HBCUs and FAMU in particular. And so this university has a very special place in my heart, because, again, those opportunities and access that it's created that, quite frankly, you may not have gotten an opportunity to do it, on the other side of the tracks. And, we're building something special here at FAMU, and we're not wasting much time doing it. But the brand here, it's a perennial brand. It's a national brand. And, working at places like the University of Miami, I've seen rabid fan bases. My fan base here in Tallahassee is just as significant and, quite frankly, impactful. And so, we're putting ourselves in a position to make waves, not only in Black college sports, but across the country. And some of the things that we're going to do to lift up our institution and take things to the next level. So we're excited about that. There are long-term plans for me to be here. My president, board of trustees, we have a great working relationship. Our National Alumni Association, we're deeply involved. As a matter of fact, I'm a life member. And so, we're committed to building something special here.
Very good. We're speaking right now with Kortne Gosha, the athletic director for FAMU. And when you made the statement, I think it was the understatement of the year. You said we're moving at an accelerating rate. You land at FAMU December of 19. And here it is, July, and you already have FAMU heading toward another conference, and we're gladly saying hello and welcome with wide eyes, arms wide open. My question is this. Was that part of your negotiating deal to say, look, if I come to FAMU, I got some things I'd like to see? Because it seemed like this thing happened overnight for those who are not at the privilege of sitting at the table while these discussions were going on. And I guess the question I'm trying to ask in a roundabout way, why the move now?
So for us, obviously every athletic director, when you come in, you have what I call the pie in the sky, ideas and mechanisms. And, we talked about those things, what could be, what would be, et cetera. And, the first thing we had to do here at FAMU is we had to bring in a team that understood the pace in which I'm wanting to work. And then the things that have to be done to take our program to the next level. And so, leadership's only as good as its team. And so we brought in a team that could do that for us. Professionals who are subject matter experts in their area, so I had to bring a strong finance person in, had to bring a strong fundraiser in, my facilities and kind of internal people. Those are the people who really run the department on a day-to-day, while an athletic director's out there, negotiating deals and creating partnerships and all those types of things. That was really important for us. We had to, get our academic house and make sure we're in compliance. We did that. And obviously the landscape, with conference realignment was always one of those things that we had our eye on. But we accelerated that because, some of the things that happened, early on in my tenure, North Carolina A&T leaving the MEAC. Well, that probably moved us a little bit quicker. We were looking at it already, but it was important that a brand like FAMU has a permanent, consistent home that's a benefit to us. And again, you see just how powerful our brand is when those who are close to us follow. And, the little brother always likes to follow big brother anyway.
The first shots are fired. And there's Bethune-Cookman being drugged into the conversation. Boy, shame on you, Brother Gosha. Shame on you.
I didn't call no names. I just stated the fact.
Oh my! Well, I'm pretty sure that Wildcat Country said, but we got the open hand on the gridiron. But I'm not going to get into that. We're going to finish. Carry on, sir. Carry on.
Absolutely, but no, just to be serious. Lynn Thompson and the folks over at Bethune are really, really good to us, and we've got a partnership that's like none other in Black college football, in particular with the Florida Classic, and it was an opportunity for us to kind of keep things going, and the geography makes total sense. After talking with the commissioner, and we felt it was a great opportunity for us to save some money, but then to align with the blue bloods of Black college football. Again, to be able to play a Southern one week and go to an Alabama State the next week and play Grambling and play Jackson State every week is almost like a homecoming-like atmosphere. And that's, when you see those type of things, that's where the dollar signs are. And that's how we now capitalize on things like partnerships and TV revenue and again, creating that return on investment of perennial brands like ours. And so obviously we made a decision to leave the MEAC after this 2020 campaign. And that was bittersweet. For us, the MEAC has given us a platform to be a Division I institution for a long time. And, no knock on them. But the reality is the landscape of the conference had changed, which wasn't a benefit for FAMU. And so we made a decision to go a different direction.
Okay, we're speaking right now with Kortne Gosha, Athletic Director of FAMU. Now, you said a whole lot that I'm going to try to get right back to, but before we get into that, you made the reference that you did your research and you did your data. What other conferences fit the blueprint and the style of FAMU before you made the ultimate decision to come to the SWAC?
Absolutely. So we studied 2 additional conferences. There were, when kind of word got out, and to some degree it's hard to keep a secret, but word did get out, and we had some conversations with several other conferences about what could be. And ultimately, we kind of got all that information, brought it back, and we assessed it. What made the most sense for us, and obviously for us, being the perennial HBCU in the country, we felt it was really important for us to make sure that we aligned with peers that were similar. We did not have an appetite to really go outside of that. And then just geographically, you think about the footprint of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. It's very comparable to the SEC, just kind of that southern region, the perennial brands. It's going to be a tough football conference week in, week out. The baseball product's really good. And all of those things made a lot of sense for us. On top of now we're targeting some of our largest alumni bases, to be able to, kind of touch that network that's in Dallas and Houston, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, those areas. That's important for us to get to Birmingham and to be able to have some of our programs in driving distance, instead of, essentially hopping on a plane and having to go to Dover, Delaware. So those were some of the key factors that really drove the decision.
Okay. But what other conferences did you actually at least kick the tires on before you came over and said SWAC is going to be our new home?
Well, you trying to make me tell all my secrets, so
Not all of them, man. Just the two, the conferences. That's all.
I won't get into the specific names, but again, they were southeastern conferences, and we took an opportunity to really study their geography and the makeup of those leagues. But ultimately, we made a decision that kind of put us in the best position to be successful.
Okay, no problem. Fair enough. You can't blame me for trying, right?
No doubt.
Okay, we're talking with Kortne Gosha, athletic director for the FAMU Rattlers. Now, prior to you making this conversation, what it sounds like, and I'm just trying to get some clarity, they say in all our getting, we get an understanding, that you approached the conference and say, hey, we're interested to see if you guys would be interested in receiving us. But also, just from outside looking in, were there any conversations with Bethune that this is the move we're looking at making? Y'all better catch the train while it's still smoking.
Not necessarily. So, I think the conference realignment conversation was very organic. We didn't necessarily approach the conference, and the conference didn't really approach us. One thing in this industry, and you'll learn, especially at the AD level, you have a lot of tight contacts, and in these type of things is when you lean on them. And so there was, conversations through, various avenues to really just meet her if there was interest from the conference. Once we kind of received indication that there was, we shared some things that we'd like to see and what the long-term visions were. And then we shared interest back. And I really didn't even, the first time that I really met Commissioner McCullum was at some point late in January. And it was unplanned. We just happened to be at the same place at the same time for a similar event. And, so obviously, at a later point, we had some deeper conversations about what that was going to look like, in the month of May. Mm-hmm. And so this thing was really organic, didn't really have a true strategy. But then, naturally, again, like I said, Bethune and Lynn, I mean, you kind of see the benefits of potentially coming right now and being a 12th member. And now you can play in a division where you've got, 6 members and on one side and 6 on the other. Bethune essentially looked at the data just like we did. And, for them and a benefit to them, coming along right now made total sense. And obviously, they've got to make the best decisions for their institution, and I believe that they did.
Right. Now, when you lay all that out, and ultimately it is what it is. This is the decision that we're going with it. Now, you say the conversation started around January, so man, your feet were still drip drying, and you're having this conversation, or had this conversation already started while you were coming to FAMU?
No, again, like I said, I think in January it was just, kind of initial interaction and just conversation. And, I think over the course of the spring, obviously after A&T, withdrew, those conversations certainly accelerated. We knew it was going to be something we studied, but we didn't think it was going to be as quick as it actually happened. So, things have an interesting way of.
Does it? And how? I'm thinking about Michael Jackson's song, I'm Looking at the Man in the Mirror. They were like, there's a scene from Life, one of my favorite movies. He said, we on deck. So,
yeah, that's it.
So you gather up and say we're headed to SWAC country. We're speaking right now with Kortne Gosha, the athletic director for the FAMU Rattlers. And you made the notation of when you assembled your team and you got strong finance guy and people who understand the moves that need to be made in order to structure Rattler Nation for down the road. With the COVID-19 striking as it has struck and finances are being wiped out, how do you plan to recoup the money lost through the COVID-19 with your finance structure?
So, I think for every AD at whatever levels, whether it's Power 5 or at the FCS level, we're all struggling to be able to answer those questions right now. It's going to be a very difficult year and a very challenging year. It's going to require people to kind of tighten their belts a little bit and making sure that we address the needs instead of the wants. So from an expense control perspective, but then two, it's going to require ADs to get creative and how do you generate new revenue? If you can't get people in your stadiums and arenas, can you broadcast it and charge a pay-per-view? You're losing concession sales and parking sales. So how do you mitigate that? Or better yet, you may not even play any events. And so how do you bridge this year to next year? There's a lot of things on the table. We've been fortunate. We've got some fundraising goals that we've been able to accomplish here. We've raised over $300,000 over the past 4 months towards some major facility initiatives that we needed. And so, we've been blessed. We've been fortunate. But obviously, in this landscape, like everyone else, we're bracing for what could be. And, it's too early to tell, but you're going to lose some revenue that you had planned for because, again, we normally pack Bragg Stadium out. This year, in a best case scenario, we'll have, half that crowd. And so we're bracing for that. But really, I think the big thing that you can do is just be fiscally responsible. What resources you have. It's going to be a tight year across the board. And it's not just for HBCUs. It's going to be everybody.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's going to be everybody with all capital letters. Now, you spoke on something that I try to live by, want versus need. And right now, what has jumped in front of everyone in the need category would be testing for your student athletes. Have you counted the cost on what it would cost to test the athletes, in a healthy manner? And then how would that affect the budget and where would it come from?
So, every school, every region's a little bit different. So when at the beginning of COVID-19, our president, Dr. Larry Robinson, he really jumped out in front of this thing, and we formulated a partnership with the Bond Community Health Association, and we have tested over 11,000 people here at our football stadium at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Fortunately, it is free. You do not have to have a doctor's appointment, and we have been able to matriculate our student athletes and staff through that very same program. And so for us, we have not seen a direct effect of the financial cost to test. But just talking to some of my peers in the MEAC, we've seen anything from $50 to $200 per test for each student athlete. So it can become a very expensive venture, for an athletics department to try to do this on their own or a university. And so here at FAMU, we're extremely blessed and fortunate that we don't have to deal with that burden. But it is, it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure there's a lot of ADs that are losing sleep trying to figure out how they're going to make that happen. The NCAA hasn't come out with a uniform testing policy, but all indications look like if there's going to be competition, you're going to have to get tested before you compete. And so that's testing every week, and that's going to be expensive.
Oh, no doubt. There was a study out of California that was saying 3 tests a week per athlete, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Mondays. And at $50 a pop, that's almost $500,000 into the budget. And that's a head spinner alone, especially on an FCS, not just HBCUs, but FCS programs, period. And as you stated, all institutions operate in their own manner. And in my own opinion, I think the NCAA did a political move by stepping back and putting it on the conference, and the conference transferred it to the institutions so they can say they had no say in it. But that's a whole nother conversation. With that being said, you had some smaller divisions, NAIA programs, and some D3 programs, HBCU connections. They've shut down their programs for the fall. And I know that there was a deadline of October 17th or pushback, the latest pushbacks from the conference. Have you all started at least shadowing what could be the point where you say, you know what, it's not worth it, guys, let's shut it down?
Yeah, I mean, there are some things, there's some realities, and, I think if there's not a formal determination, my personal opinion is by the middle of July from, kind of the overarching, governing body of collegiate athletics, then this thing gets really dicey. And, I think by the middle of this month, if we don't have a clear, directive, then I think a lot of ADs will, pivot a little bit. There's been conversations still about conference-only schedules. There's been conversations about pushing the whole football season to the spring. And so one thing that I do think that there's a lot of people sitting in positions who, quite frankly, if there's no football season, I don't know how some of these institutions will make it. And so I think you've got to keep the health and safety of your student athletes as your number one priority. And I think you've got to be able to make decisions, based off of the current climate and changes. And right now, with the numbers increasing like they are, it's definitely, I think put the industry in a posture where people are really second guessing, an on-time start. Not to say that it couldn't happen, because it very well might. But there's going to be a lot of adjustments this year.
No doubt about it. We're speaking with Kortne Gosha. Look, brother, I've come up on the break. Can you hang with us through the break and we can continue this conversation?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to take us a quick break. We'll be right back with more Kortne Gosha from FAMU University, and we'll be right back right after this.
It's the Open Mic Tele-Network line. Dial 720-721-1558, and instantly at your fingertips, you'll have the latest local news, weather, and sports. Need a word of encouragement? Dial 720-721-1558. The Open Mic Tele-Network line features weekly prayer, verse of the week, and local ministries at your fingertips. Everything you need on demand. Dial 720-721-1558. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No internet? No problem. No Wi-Fi? No problem. No app? No problem. All you need to do is dial 720-721-1558 to listen now.
You're looking to expand your business or services? Let the Open Mic Broadcast Network help lead the way. With our customized campaigns, we are definitely able to reach your target audience. For more information, dial 832-213-8824. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics. The voice of student athletics.
It's innovative. It's encouragement. It's empowerment. It's informative. It's inspirational. It's The Journey, a talk show that is guaranteed to come to you from a different perspective. Coming soon, The Journey, another production, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. We have the fortunes of having with us the young gun, Mr. Kortne Gosha, Athletic Director of FAMU. Thank you for hanging out with us throughout the break, man. And as we were discussing the matter, and we'll kick off with that, your experience with SWAC institutions, the ones that you've actually had the chance to visit with, and you were breaking it down. Share with the audience what you were saying.
Absolutely. So my mother actually lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I had an aunt who attended Southern, so I visited that campus quite often. I haven't been to any of the Mississippi schools or haven't visited their campuses, but I know Alabama A&M and Alabama State all too well from my old stomping grounds being in the state of Alabama. So SWAC territory won't be anything new to me, nor our head football coach, Willie Simmons.
Oh, no doubt about it, Shotgun Willie Simmons. You talked about, you said y'all the tallest hill out of 7 hills or something you said about down there in Tallahassee. But when you come to the hill, see, there's only one the hill. Look like we may have lost Gosha here just for a second. We're going to take us a break and try to get him to come back. Well, as a matter of fact, he's getting back in with us right now. So we will. Okay, Brother Gosha, you there with us, man? Hello. Okay, no problem. Let's make sure we got you mic'd in here. Are you there with us now?
I'm here with you now.
Okay, very good. I think I scared you off when I started talking about that hill, huh? The real hill, the hill of Prairie View. You know, I told you talking about them 7 hills, but then we're talking about the hill. When you get to the hill, we'll show you that good old Southern hospitality. You know, and you know, as once again from another movie, Harlem Nights. You know, because you FAMU Rattlers have been coming in kicking up dust. You know, y'all been talking noise in all the SWAC chat rooms and tried to do an orange and green takeover. But, you know, don't take it personal.
The Rattlers are one of a kind, and I'm telling you, when they strike, and we strike again.
Yeah. Look, I heard that enough. You know, strike. But you remember the honey badger, right? Now, look, I know there's been a lot of talk about football, and deservedly so. You know, football is the needle pusher. You know, you're talking about your finance and this, that, and the other. But I am extremely pumped up about what you and Bethune bring to the table when it comes to baseball and softball. Some great competitive programs. The SWAC baseball ID and IQ has just increased. Are you much of a baseball guy?
Absolutely. So, that was one of the probably the most exciting pieces of our research. You know, again, our baseball product, obviously being 2019 MEAC champions in baseball, our softball history, we won the MEAC in 2017, and our those two programs are always kind of at the top of the charts. And so to be able to play with what I consider to be high-end competition, these are some perennial names that week in, week out, they can beat anybody in the country. And so that type of competition is going to make our team better. And quite frankly, I think it will definitely enhance the profile of the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I can't wait until baseball season kicks up. I've had a tradition, brother, for quite some time. Usually the tournament is during my baseball week, and I just lose myself in baseball, and it's just an exciting time. In the volleyball, it's also going to be a strong game brought in on the table. Now, if I were to poke a hole, and you might be honest with me, not that you're throwing your program under the bus, you got some work to do when it comes to the hardwood.
Oh yeah. That's okay. We're coming.
Yeah, you come. Bring your hard hat. Just bring your hard hat. And I'm just, I'm pretty sure since you did your research, you know who the defending men's basketball champion is, back-to-back champions. So we'll let that take care of itself.
I'll say this, be ready because last year on our men's side we went undefeated at home. So when you come to the Snake Pit again, you better be ready because our kids are fired up and we don't play no games in Tallahassee.
I understand that. And as I say, let the games truly begin, and that's the good thing. And it leads me to my next question. We know it seems like the buzzwords today is culture, and what culture do you see that FAMU is bringing to the SWAC, and what culture would FAMU have to get accustomed to now that they are a part of the SWAC?
I think what FAMU is going to bring to the SWAC is there's just a certain aura, about putting the blue bloods together, for competition. Again, it's the pageantry. It's the, bringing the marching 100 wherever we go, and allowing them to show the other bands of the SWAC how it's done. No point intended. But
well, you's a slick one, ain't you?
but again, it's just that. I think people want to see our band. They want to see our competition's band. They want to see the history that these programs bring to the table. Because again, these are national brands. When you can take a FAMU and a Grambling and put them anywhere in the country, it's a sellout crowd. Because that's the type of atmosphere that it brings. But the academic profile of FAMU, being an institution that has a law school, we are an R2 research institution, and that type of, I guess you could say ammunition, a world-class business school to really help lift up our conference. And that's one of the things that we're excited about and we know that we bring to the table. I think what the Southwestern Athletic Conference allows us to do is to really, share that brand and then also tap into our alumni bases in a way that we haven't been able to before. There's no secret yet. We have great alumni bases in the Northeast, but we've also got a lot in the Southwest, and we haven't really been able to get to them because of the geographic footprint of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And I think with this move for us, we're in the Southwest, but then we can also schedule non-conference games that get us to the Northeast quadrant, and to continue to play some of our MEAC peers. We're still going to play Howard. We still have some desires to play some of the Carolina schools. And so those are things that we're going to work out. We're going to get them done. So those things aren't going away. But for us, we're going to be operating in a posture that best serves us.
Okay, we're speaking again with Kortne Gosha, Athletic Director of the FAMU Rattlers. Brother Kortne, let me ask you this question. If you were in a position where you had to describe your approach and philosophy leading your athletic department, how would you respond to that?
So I think there's three words. Servant leadership. I tell people I'm never going to ask you to do something that either I won't do or haven't done myself. And so, in our posture, we all got to roll our sleeves up and we got to do what's in the best interest of our student athletes. I'm very aggressive in everything that we do. So, if we want to be the best in Black college athletics, we want to be the class of the league. Well, you got to be bold in that, but you've also got to be right. And so my mama used to tell me, you can't be loud and wrong, we were really focused on continuing to make sure that we're operating in the best practices, and that we're doing it in a bold way. We set an ambitious fundraising goal out there that, quite frankly, had never been done at FAMU. We're halfway there, and we're doing it 4 months into a pandemic. And so we want to be bold in that. We've talked about conference realignment prior to my tenure for years and years and years. Well, you know what? We did it. And we're going to do those type things that put our kids in positions to be successful. So for me, it's all about, strategic alignment, alignment with your alumni base, alignment with your student athletes. But remember, the core of everything that we do is for these kids. It's for these student athletes. And my job as an athletic director is to create access and opportunities for them. And, we hold them accountable. They got to go to class and make the grade. And but just being a common man athletic director, I'm not a suit, an empty suit that just kind of sits behind my desk. I'm very engaged, whether it be on social media or with our student athletes. In this period of COVID-19, I've personally called every one of our student athletes and check on them. That's part of my weekly routine, because we're in this thing together. But I'm really excited. I'm excited about the future, and not only at FAMU, but for Black college athletics. And, my goal is to help enhance that arena for us all. And I'm just excited to serve at this university.
Absolutely. Now, being driven, being young, being confident, some people can misinterpret those and try to put a label on as arrogant. What response would you have to those?
So, and you do, there's a fine line. But one of the things that on a personal note, I'm probably one of the most humble people you'll ever meet. But I do think that when you sit in a chair where you're appointed to lead, you have to have a certain level of confidence. And there are those critics that will say, whatever they want to say that's in their best interest. But, they talked about Jesus, too. And yes, so you got to have in your back of your mind as a leader, those type things are going to come. But at the end of the day, I allow my results speak for themselves, and my results are the impact that we're making on our student athletes' lives. We're about rings and degrees here at FAMU. So we brag differently. We compete, but my job is to ensure that these young people graduate with a degree, and there's no greater honor for an AD for that student athlete to walk across the stage with a ring on their finger too.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we're about. And I'm unapologetically proud of that.
Well, look, there's never a need to apologize. And for me, the definition and the clarity between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is a person who looks down on people. Confidence is just willing to bet the house on yourself because you know what you're capable of doing. So you carry on, baby Jesus. Don't apologize for how you rolling.
No, I appreciate it.
No. Just remember when you come to the hill, it just might be a little tone of music, but we're gonna still love on you and make sure that everything is all right for you. We're speaking with Kortne Gosha, athletic director for the FAMU Rattlers. Man, it's been a joy having you on with us, and I'm going to wrap this last question up with this right here. If you had to start a baseball program, which area would you recruit first and why?
All right. So if I had to start a baseball program, I will say this. So I think it's exactly where we are here in Tallahassee. Geographically, we're a stone's throw from so many areas that, kind of here in the Panhandle, South Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, you touch it. So there's such a rich talent, in the 3-hour radius around us, no matter what direction you go, that I think we're in a perfect spot. I'd also say this, with the NCAA passing the approval, or not necessarily the NCAA, but here in the state of Florida, passing the approval of the name, image, and likeness, we can now recruit student athletes here who have an opportunity and a competitive edge over some of their other peers in other states. And so why would you want to come and play and go to college in sunny Florida in the number one university system in the conference at the number one HBCU in the country? And, why not?
Hey, I heard that confidence just then.
It's a rattler thing.
Hey, you know what? And strike again, my young man, and continue to do on. Look, man, it's been a blast having you on with us on this evening. We're going to have some closing thoughts and comments coming from you, sir, and the floor is now all yours.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to have me on today, and anytime we can talk about this great university and Black college athletics, it's not only an honor but a privilege. And I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next opportunity.
Well, that sounds like you want to have an open door invite, which we more than gladly would extend to you.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Kortne Gosha, athletic director from FAMU Rattler Nation. Strike, and strike again. We're going to take us a break, and we'll be right back with more of the Mike Prince Show right here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Keep it where you got it. We'll be right back.
The Open Mic Broadcast Network is an independent network that is dedicated to local community programming featuring sports, the gospel, community news, and much, much more. It is our endeavor to keep the community informed, enlightened, encouraged, and entertained. Our continued existence is solely predicated on those who donate toward our cause. The opportunity to give is a very simple process. You can visit our Open Mic Broadcast Network site at obnradio.com, click on the PayPal button, and become a supporter today. For those of you who would prefer to send in a donation, make all checks payable to Open Mic Broadcast Network, OPEN, capital MIC, Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 891, Prairie View, Texas, 77446. Thank you for your support. Thank you for spreading the word of the Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics since 2002.
Our fans need to come out and support these schools. All of our SWAC fans, because attendance is down. So all of our fans have got to come out. We got to support our schools. We got to support our own. It's a message to all the alumnus. Support your schools.
We'd like to recognize sponsors. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street in Hempstead, Texas. Their phone number is 979-826-8008. Diva Skin Conditioner, located at divafeet.com, D-I-V-A-H feet.com. Their phone number, 903-270-0026. Prairie View Athletic Club, serving student athletes since 1986. Their phone number is 936-857-5817. Temple of Refuge Ministries, located in Prairie View, Texas, at 45372 Old Highway 290. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, several locations to serve you. Katy, Rosenberg, Brenham, Bryan, College Station, and Waller, Texas. Their phone numbers, toll free, 855-391-2149. If you or your business would like to be a part of the sponsorship team here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, contact us at 832-213-8824.
The birth of legends are storied in this conference. We must never forget our rich history. We now turn our gaze to the future. The new legends will emerge. New heroes to arise. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Be our history.
I talked to a half dozen athletic directors from 3 different conferences today. And here's sort of the overview, snapshot, big picture, all right? Recent news does not support being optimistic, but there's really no reason not to be positive, or at the very least realistic. In short, what we've got to be ready for is anything. We've got a clash going on with the political narrative, the medical narrative, and those two have not been jiving very well with one another of late.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show, live edition here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Brother Kortne Gosha, the young gun, athletic director from FAMU. Good job on tonight. Answered some questions. Stayed away from that one, though, but that's all good. Welcome back. As you heard coming in through the break, that was an excerpt from Paul Feinbaum's show where people are trying to hold on to fate in the likes of football starting off on time. When you look at everything that's falling around us, it's getting smaller and smaller, that window of opportunity, and makes one wonder. You heard Brother Gosha even refer to possibly playing football in the spring, and we know that is simply going to be a big-time option, especially with the television contract deals that will be lying out. And referring back to Dr. McClellan's statement as far as ESPN goes, of course, it's going to try to renegotiate, but if they do not want to adjust how the pie gets split up, he said they'll remember that in 5 years when the contract is up. So there are a lot of things that are moving and moving all over the place. I want to tip my hat to the SIAC, to Texas College, Langston College, to Morehouse, for these guys stepping up and said, you know what? We're not going to kid ourselves any longer. We are going to say enough is enough. We're going to shut it down to 2021 because the health is going to outweigh the dollar. When you know how to make money, you will always be able to make that up. But you can't recover the life that's lost. Once that life is over with, it's over with. And there's nothing that we can do about that. We talked to you earlier at the start of the show about the reservation, which is affectionately referred to by Alcorn State. I actually like the name reservation. I like the war chant. But with everything that is going on now, people are trying to turn the heat up on Alcorn and saying that it is time to change the war chant song and to change the reservation referring to the campus. We did a poll this week. 55% of you are in agreement with that. And I found that unique, interesting. Here's what I found unique about it is we didn't really look at the harm or the offensiveness that could come from it because it wasn't directly targeted toward the quote-unquote African-American community. Just like the Redskins logo from the Washington Redskins. There is heat about that right now. There was a poll, and I got to research the actual data, and I'll tweet it out, where 9 out of 10 of Native Americans said they didn't have a problem, per se, with the nickname Redskin. But others are. So whoever that is, do you succumb and change the name of that? I thought of a good name would be the Washington Warriors. You could still keep the mascot because I didn't think the mascot was derogatory. I could be wrong. I don't know. And what I tried to do is I tried to put myself in other folks' shoes, if I could. Not that it's easy to do in all cases, but I try. And what I thought about, if we had a team whose mascot were the Zulu Warriors, would we be offended as a body of people if there were an image of a black man with a spear, no shirt on? Would we consider that racist? And if the chant, you know how I'm thinking about the Brave chant, oh, I think it's pretty cool. And once they get to rocking at Alcorn, man, it's nothing like it. But if that were changed to Zulu Nation, oh, would we take offense to that? I don't know. Maybe I need to run a poll to see how things would go as far as that is concerned. But it's just something to think about, something to acknowledge that we are definitely in some unique times. And speaking of time, I've run out of time for this week. I want to thank Brother Kortne Gosha for being our guest on this evening. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, you can catch us right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network with a daily show. We got some good interviews lined up for you this week. I'm not going to tip the cap too much, but I'm pretty sure you're going to appreciate just how hard we're working on this end. If you truly appreciate us, visit that website at obnradio.com. Go to the donation button. Make a donation today. Some of you guys might be old school and say, I don't believe in all that online donating. Well, we got a solution for you too. You can make a check out to Open Mic Broadcast Network, send it to P.O. Box 891, Prairie View, Texas, 77446, and send your donation today. I've got the exit stage left. My time is far spent. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, thanking you guys, as always, for being a part of our programming. Don't forget our on-demand message center, 720-721-1558. Check it out. It's a lot going on here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and you don't want to miss none of it. I've got to go. My time is far spent. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Lord say the same when the creek don't rise. We'll be here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.